Welcome everyone to the first episode of The Awakening Trail. We are kicking things off with a bang. And yes, we have already broken one of our own rules by going over the 1 hour mark. But trust me, this one's totally worth it. You may ask why? Because we tried to uncover everyone's favorite topic, astrology. In this episode, we talked about Shani, Rahu, Ketu, or as our guest calls them, the bad boys of astrology. We also explore the deep connections between astrology and spirituality, and so much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this truly inspiring conversation with none other than Honest Astrologer. Let's get started. Thank you so much, Vijayji, on behalf of me and Suchak for accepting this invite and gracing our podcast channel, The Awakening Trail. Trust me, sir, today is a huge fan moment for both of us. We both are your huge fan. We are fan of your modesty, honesty, and to the point advice, right? It is always seedhi baat, no bakwas. So, so speaking of honesty, why don't we begin with the name, Honest Astrologer? I mean, it's catchy, right? And the marketing in me says that it is a perfect name, it's apt name. But you will also agree with me that it might also be taken other way. So why did you choose this title?
So first of all, Priyanka and Suchak, thank you for having me. And I think this is the first podcast, right? So
Yeah.
this is the first time I am a first guest on a podcast, such an honor. And I have known you guys for years, and you have been like one of my favorite couples in life. And it's really inspiring what you guys have achieved at this age, living in the nature. And I'm so envious. And I wish someday we could follow through. I don't know with my kind of chart if it's possible or not.
Okay.
But you guys are really an inspiration the way you have come blended with the nature. हम लोग तो बोलते रहते हैं कि साहब one should stay close to nature, and then we live on our concrete bunkers with our ACs and everything. So you guys have done very, very well for yourself. So kudos and thank you for doing good to the nature. And I think we had that discussion before you guys moved out, and I looked at your charts and I was like, run to the village. Don't just walk, run to the
I
village.
know. I
And I'm
remember.
so happy to see that you guys have done a fantastic job of it. And I am so happy to see you too. And you guys look happier ever since you have moved there, you know. So now coming to me, how Honest Astrologer was born. I was in my corporate job and I wanted to launch this thing as a charity, and I was looking for a good name, and we went to GoDaddy and all that. And there were a couple of names. I had bought 2-3 domains. तो मुझे याद भी नहीं.
Okay.
And then one option I could see here, honestastrologer.com किसी ने लिया नहीं. And that was 2016. It was far easier to buy domains. Yeah,
Right.
far easier. So then I had closed on some other name, but a big shout out to my friend Saurabh. He called me up. He said, Honest Astrologer is very, very catchy. Go for it. और जैसा आपका nature है, you are very blunt and
Yeah.
you are very upfront, so वो suit करेगा. Then I went and I did a search of the email address. Okay. honestastrologer@gmail.com किसी ने नहीं ले रखा था. ये तो free था.
Correct.
Right? Domain you have to pay some money. Email is for free. But nobody bothered to put honest and astrologer together. So I thought, boss, this is sign from the gods. Let's pick this up. And this name sort of stuck. And then I started blogging, and some of my articles were loved by Google. वो आज तक first page पे आते by the grace of God. So
Yeah.
वो बन गया persona. There are clients who have been with me for a couple of years. They don't know my name. So उनके लिए I'm
Yeah.
honest astrologer. So I sort of like that. It's like, Clark Kent to Superman. So honest astrologer is my Superman. I have a 9th house Shani, so honesty is a part of me. Okay.
Okay.
And I also have a heavy Aquarius and a Bodhaditya Yoga. So I tell what I want to say. So I always thought one should always be honest in their dealings. I'm one of those rare astrologers who give a money back guarantee.
I know that. I remember when you were reading my chart in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are certain incident took place, and then you were like, maybe, I'm not able to, read it.
Read this.
And you
Yeah.
were very honest to say that, take the money back. But I
Mm.
remember that very correctly. But by grace of God, I think you were able to read my chart, and
Yeah.
then here we are today. Thanks,
So
to the Almighty.
yeah, thank God for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now let's dwell into your childhood, right? Maybe, uh, you mentioned that you were in corporate before. You took the transition, you took that leap of faith from corporate to astrology. So
Mhm.
when did that first, union with
Mhm.
astrology begin? When was it?
Okay, so this is going to be a long answer. Okay.
Sure, take your time.
Uh, my uncle Mukesh Kumar Ji was an astrologer, and he was the one who started it. And आई एम अ voracious reader, प्रियंका. ये पीछे जो बुक्स पढ़ी हैं ये सारी पढ़ी हुई हैं. I would read everything I could get my hands on. It was the early 80s. There was no internet or no nothing, and I wouldn't get any pocket money. Whatever I would get, I would spend on books and comics, whatever. टाइम मैं आज भी सोता हूँ तो कान में ऑडियो बुक लगा के सोता हूँ. So my uncle had all these Jyotish books, and I was 8, 9 years old, and I would just pick them up, try and read, make some sense of it. But astrology, you don't choose astrology. Astrology chooses you.
Oh,
तो वो मेरे चार्ट में था, एंड माय अंकल न्यू कि ये लड़का देर सवेर सीखेगा. सो ही बार्ड मी फ्रॉम रीडिंग तंत्रा बुक्स.
okay.
वो पुराने टाइम में बंडल आता था, तो यू विल हैव 5 astrology books, maybe 1 tantra book. They will ship, as a savings
Right,
bundle.
right.
So I would read them, and they were a little fascinating to a 9-year-old. And then he debarred me, बोले ज्योतिष पढ़ना पढ़ो, you shouldn't be reading tantra. Imagine your 9-year-old nephew reading a tantra book. It
I
freak
know.
you
I
out. So
correct,
then he
absolutely.
allowed me access to some of his books, and I started reading. Couldn't make most of it. Then my father entered it in 1993, and my dad is a bona fide genius, reads a lot. ये जो पाया है उनसे पाया है, that's my genius. वो भी कान में ऑडियो बुक लगा के या यूट्यूब वीडियो लगा के सोते हैं. सो दैट डीएनए
Oh,
थिंग, दैट अंकल. सो
जीन्स में ही है आपके.
या माय वाइफ इज डीएनए से टेस्ट नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, पक्के बाप बेटे. So he started doing his research, and my dad is a cut above my uncle when it comes to intellectual capability. So आज भी उनके बुक्स उनके ऑफिस में भरे हुए हैं, तो 1990s वाला. So again I started reading. तो पहले तो he discouraged me because like every good Indian father he wanted an IAS son. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
but then he realized कि ये रुकेगा नहीं, because my chart has those yogas. So he was like कि ठीक है, सीखना तो तू ठीक से सीख. So then I became his apprentice. Being a second generation helps. Call it nepotism in astrology or whatever. So
So,
he used to do it as a charity, and I was his office boy, come peon, come secretary, come चाय वाला.
mm-hmm.
Sundays हमारे घर पे people would come. वो जब भी तक जॉब में रहे तो फ्री में करते. A lot of people and lot of horoscopes. So at
Yeah.
times he would throw me a question, इस चार्ट में ऐसा हुआ क्यों हुआ? So simply
Mm-hmm.
peek and ये इस वजह से हुआ. नहीं हुआ तो you get disciplined in front of all the
Everyone.
जनता. So you are very curious about things. And if it happens, so you get some praise from your daddy. So सीखता रहा. Then I read a few books thanks to the internet. उससे मेरे समझ में आया कि हाँ यार ये this actually works, and I could put my things together. यार दोस्तों में देखता रहता था. Corporate ice breakers में something which is unique about you, I can read horoscopes. So it
Right.
always got the room intrigued. So that is how it kept happening. How I went professional, credit goes to three of my friends. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One, my friend Pravesh. Other friend, I cannot name her. Third, my spiritual mentor. So
Okay.
Pravesh was first person to take me seriously, and he's a big time share trading guy, and he's a chartered accountant and a CFA. So उस पे मैंने कुछ रैंडम प्रिडिक्शंस करी थी, वो ठीक होनी शुरू हो गए. So then he came to me कि सर आपको आता है. Then another friend, I helped her navigate her Ketu period, and she was very happy कि यार तुम तो सही में जानते हो. And my spiritual mentor, who insisted that I do it for money, I stopped doing it as a charity because I was wasting a lot of time. I had no job. जो उस time business था, that was shaky, and I was spending a lot of time. So these three इन लोगों ने डंडे मार मार के they turned me pro. So I didn't want to take money. So my mentor said कि मैं तो डॉक्टर हूँ, मैं तो भूखे मर जाऊँ ऐसे. So she said कि अगर तुमको इतनी चिंता है, you might want to give a refund policy. And I was like, yes, yes, I might give us. And after that started rest. You guys know.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks to your three friends, those
Yeah.
three musketeers who made this happen, who made Honest Astrologer available for everyone, who is seeking help in astrology. So moving on, I think this question is a bit personal and you have, full freedom to dodge it if you like. I've noticed that you always, in your professional setting, use your father's name. Is there a story behind that as well?
Oh yes, there is. When I launched this thing, I had resigned from my job, but I was still an active member of the corporate. Okay.
Okay.
So notice period पे था. But I didn't want my professional identity to be mixed up. आज की डेट में तो nobody knows कि मैं कहाँ था क्या था. So I did not want my name to be mixed up with my astrology career. Second thing, I never liked my name.
Oh.
My bua chose it for me, and I just hated it. G Vijay Kumar is Gaurav Vijay Kumar. Okay, Gaurav sounds a funny name to me. I don't like that. I don't no longer answer to it. Somebody says Gaurav, I don't listen. Somebody says Vijay, I turn around, and I'm very happy about it.
Okay.
Second thing, it gives you a little exalted moon ka vibe. I have a damaged moon. Plus, with the ninth house Shani and Buddhaditya in the Lagna, you want to make your daddy proud all the time. So I promised my father I'll make him famous, and I did. So Vijay Kumar is famous, and maybe my successor would continue with the surname Vijay Kumar. Okay. So Vijay
Okay.
Kumar is dad's name.
Right.
So the idea was when I'm gone, somebody else will take over the moniker of Honest Astrologer, and uska pehla naam will become abbreviated, and Vijay Kumar will live long. वो ऐसा फैंटम नहीं था.
Yeah.
फैंटम कॉमिक्स आता था ना, तो हर नया फैंटम would replace.
सही है, सही है.
Honest Astrologer will continue maybe for the next 2-3 generations. I don't know after that.
Wow.
So in order to evade that corporate कि भाई किसी ने Google किया तो मेरा LinkedIn पेज पहले आ जाएगा. है
Right.
ना? So in those days LinkedIn was a big deal. आज की डेट में तो it's a joke book. So I just thought of doing this, and I thought कि ये गौरव से भी पिंड छूटेगा, and I'll become Vijay Kumar. So G Vijay Kumar was born. अभी इसका साइड इफेक्ट बहुत फनी रहा. Many people think I'm a South Indian. No, I'm a 6 foot Punjabi. Okay. So
I also initially thought, sir, that you are a South Indian, with the Vijay Kumar thing.
yeah, at times I just pick up a phone and people start in Tamil or Telugu or Kannada, and I tell them, "Pahu Punjabi च गाल कर."
सही है. उनके तो बल्ले बल्ले उड़ते होंगे, उन्हें पता ही नहीं चलता होगा आप क्या कह रहे
And
हो.
I still remember a comment made by one of my readers. He said, "Sir, पंजाब में ऐसी इंग्लिश कोई नहीं लिख सकता." Again,
सही
for
है.
English, I have to thank my father. He was a grammar Nazi, so he corrected me a lot. So that's how G Vijay Kumar was born, and that's the story.
I think, great that your father also, I think, brought in books in your life, right? And that
Yeah.
also has to do with the English writing. Sir, you talked about just now, right? And I also had seen one of your reels on Instagram, where you said that anybody, correct me if I'm wrong, with the question, if anybody is in their Rahu period or Antardasha Rahu, they should not follow LinkedIn. And why did you say that? And you also called, LinkedIn just now a boring app. So why is it so, sir? I use in LinkedIn extensively, which is why I'm trying to understand here. And there
Yeah.
are many, billions.
Yeah. So LinkedIn, Rahu में problem क्या होता है प्रियंका? You compare yourself with everybody. Okay.
Oh,
You talk to a Rahu Mahadasha person, उसकी इंची टेप हमेशा हाथ में रहती. अच्छा, will I make इतना करोड़? Will I
Okay.
buy this car? Will I have 500 गज का plot? They always try to quantify and compare. That's Rahu problem. Quantify and compare and feel bad about it. Because
Okay.
Rahu is a head. It can only eat. It cannot digest.
Mm.
तो जितना भी
Mm.
मिल जाए भूखा रहता है बेचारा. Okay? So that
Yeah.
same greed comes to you. Okay. और राहु का फेवरेट हथियार है कंपैरिजन. So the best way to make a person desperate is to make him compare themselves with someone else.
Okay.
You won't feel bad as a common person as long as your cousin is not a CEO. The moment you get to know, आपको लगेगा भाई ये मैं तो गरीब हूँ, right? And that's the Indian mentality, especially हमारे parents दोषी हैं. You
Yeah.
look at Sharma ji ka beta. The Sharma ji ka beta meme is the truth. Any cousin, any friend doing well, you always get compared. So Indians make bad parents. उसको देखो उसका बच्चा क्या कर, ओ यार मेरी औकात नहीं कर सकता, या maybe I have a different set of talents. So that comparison कीड़ा has gone into the Indian DNA.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rahu period, everybody keeps comparing themselves to everybody. Now that comparison has gone bloody nuclear with LinkedIn, especially for men. Women, उनका राहु is Instagram. मेरी कजन गई यूरोप घूमने, अभी तुम लो वेकेशन लोन, आई डोंट केयर, राइट?
Mhm.
मेन, अरे यार वो लड़का ही वाज नॉट दैट ग्रेट एंड ही इज अ सीईओ, आई वांट टू बिकम अ सीईओ. वो कंपनी छोड़ के स्टार्टअप में गए एंड देन द स्टार्टअप क्लोज्ड इन 6 months, देन यू आर स्क्रूड. दैट इज हाउ राहु वर्क. एंड लिंक्डइन, one of the better names for LinkedIn should be only founders. Everybody is a CEO.
Mhm.
Everybody is humble bragging. And half the CEOs are unemployed people who have opened their own private limited. Private limited में नहीं, वो LLP खोल के CEO कहलाते खुद को. और कई तो proprietorship वाले CEO, भाई illegal है. You cannot call yourself a CEO with a proprietorship company. People don't even know that, right? So all that bragging culture and all that comparison culture, that is why LinkedIn is so bad.
Understood.
Yeah.
And it's a different perception that you have got us today about LinkedIn specifically. Other than that, I think I am very thankful for the point that you mentioned about parenting. I have seen that myself growing up, often being compared with others, right? So I think with I'll take a moment and tell all the parents out there. I think most of the parents are nowadays have stopped doing that. They are also educating themselves in terms of how the parenting should be. But glad that you brought this up. Stop comparing your kids with other. Every kid is special. Every kid is unique, right? Every kid has their own story to tell, and let the kid grow and blossom. So thank you so much for that anecdote here.
Now,
Now,
when you said grow and blossom, I would just add 1 minute of wisdom to it.
sure,
There
sure,
are
sure, sir.
basically two kinds of parents, basic
Right.
bisection. One is a gardener parent, other is a carpenter parent. Gardener
Okay.
parent says, मेरा बच्चा जैसा naturally है, I will help him evolve his talents. So they will give him all the necessary khaad pani required to grow. For example, if my child is an orange tree, he is an orange tree, I'll give him the khaad pani required for an orange tree. If he is a mango tree, I'll change it towards a mango tree. So कारपेंटर पेरेंट कहता तू वो बनेगा जो मैं चाहूंगा, बेटा वो बनेगा वो जो बाप चाहेगा. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पेरेंटिंग? आपके बच्चे को द नेचर हैज गिवन सम स्पेसिफिक स्किल सेट, नर्चर दैट स्किल सेट. कारपेंटर पेरेंट बोलता है तू स्क्वायर बनेगा, नहीं बनेगा तो मैं तुझे काट के बनाऊंगा. दैट्स देसी पेरेंटिंग फॉर यू.
Yeah.
Thankfully, millennials are doing a much better job at parenting. So I hope to see a change in that generation.
Absolutely. I see a lot of friends around, they're taking that extra effort and whatever you just mentioned, they're just eliminating that in their parenting. So thank glad that,
Millennial generation is holding that trauma back. They're not passing it on to their children. Kudos.
yeah, yeah. Kudos to them, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Boomers,
So
I don't like them.
I could, sense that in your conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but
I am the
somebody has
only
to actually.
astrologer जिसके पास में 1970 से पहले वाले आते ही नहीं. Only astrologer. बाकी सबकी गाड़ी बुजुर्ग खींच रहे हैं. I am a young man's astrologer.
No, no, but actually, it is also very necessary and important for people like you, to bear that torch and be the leader and say it out loud and,
Yeah.
make it uh, available for people to know and learn out of it. So thank you so much, Vijayji, for that. Now, I would like to touch upon a point where nowadays, now you're talking about millennials, right? Many millennials, and even before that generation as well, are getting into spirituality, right? That's nowadays in being taken very seriously.
Mhm.
So, do you see that there is a connection between astrology and spirituality, sorry? And if so, does astrology, benefits on one's spiritual journey? What do you have to say about that?
Okay, so this is a complex one. I'll try and explain that. In the olden days, in the Vedic times, they would teach everything from spirituality to making money to, taking care of your health. Everything was done in a Gurukul, right?
Yeah.
So everything is a part of the whole. A doctor cannot study just the feet or just the head. Okay, you can specialize, but you need to have your basics in place. So basics, our generation was the one who started to think, how does the world work?
Hmm.
Previous generation was only worried about how to get a government job
Yeah.
and how to get married. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we started trying to figure it out thanks to the internet. This
Okay.
revolution came through because there are those existential questions that teenagers have, that young people have, and I've seen young people are far more spiritual.
Hmm.
हम लोगों का तो the banks and the corporates, they take the spirit out of us. Yeah. So when you have a mortgage and a job and traffic jams, there is very little that you think about.
Yeah.
And then, yes, spirituality is a rich man's thing. I'm saying it
Okay.
with a lot of responsibility. Okay. Poor people, it's very difficult to be spiritual when you are worried about the next meal.
Hmm.
So previous generation, as much as I'm harsh on them, they struggled to get 2 square meals. There were no jobs, there were no ACs. So first you need comfort. Hmm. So making money is necessary. Money is not anti-spiritual. Right?
Right.
First thing is that you need to understand. You need to have a decent body, a decent mindset. अभी मैं एसी में बैठ के तुमसे बात कर रहा हूँ in a comfortable setting. मैं धूप में पत्थर तोड़ते हुए I couldn't have had this conversation.
Absolutely.
So with the influx of money, with the growth of jobs, with the growth of economy,
Hmm.
we sort of turned back to this luxury known as spirituality. Because once you are comfortable, then you start thinking कि यार इसके beyond क्या है. So it is the universe, right? Spirit is a part of it. Astrology is a part of it. Nature is a part of it. Don't you feel more at peace ever since you have started to live in harmony with nature?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So it is more about knowing how the world works and knowing who you are. ये दो चीजें, this combines everything, right? Astrology में भी पहला question you should ask is कि भाई मैं कौन हूँ? Not in the
Hmm.
sense कि मैं अमर आत्मा हूँ and all that, but what are my strengths and weaknesses? What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Right? So astrology, people come and tell me कि साहब हम चाहते हैं हमारा बच्चा इंजीनियरिंग का है, look at the chart, मकर लग्न लग्न सूर्य मगर तो ये बिजनेस करेगा, इसको तुम MIT भेज दो, ये वहां पे धंधा शुरू करता है. Did that. But once you know कि ये मेरा चार्ट प्लेसमेंट ऐसा है, this is how I should go because I am a big fan of living in harmony with nature. In fact, your own nature, right?
Got it.
External nature and internal nature, right?
Hmm.
Fishes can't fly. Simple as
Yeah.
if you have a child उसमें एक खास तरीके का talent है, let him explore that. He will be happy. He will be at peace with whatever he's doing. I am much more peace at peace today than I was when I was analyzing those Excel sheets. मेरे को boring लगता था. I was very good at counseling people and everything, but जब भी वो pitch का data बनाओ and all that, वो क्या है यार? Because sun in the first, I can't handle all that nonsense. So, similarly, I know my clients कि किसने क्या करना है उसका थोड़ा सा फाइन ट्यूनिंग कर दो भाई गलत डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है इस डायरेक्शन में. So you live in harmony with your nature and you live in harmony with the nature at large. So
Right,
spirituality and astrology, they merge with each other, right?
right.
There are people who are jnana yogis. There are people who are bhakti yogis. So to each his own, you need to pick even your path to spirituality, and astrology is a very good mirror of that. It's a map of who you are and what your destiny is.
Right.
So there are people who are like कि साहब मैं गीता पढ़ रहा हूँ समझ में नहीं आ रही and I tell them भैया तू जा भजन वजन कर, you are not cut out. Then there are people कि साहब मेरी मम्मी तो कहती है पूजा करो मेरी समझ में नहीं आता, I am reading रमन महर्षि. मैं कहता हूँ भाई तू ज्ञान योगी है, you will read your way to God and like you'll
Yeah,
think your
yeah.
way to. So you to each his own, right? That is how nature works. So that's how.
Yeah, so basically, if you go in tandem with the nature, you are peaceful outside as well as inside, right? So
Yes.
what I understood, a little bit gist of what you just said is that people who are finding their, path or, not able to find their path, be it professional career, be it personal life, astrology can help them identify that and
Yeah.
maybe stop that inner fight with themselves, right? So
Yes.
that
Yes.
is where astrology can help.
And a
And
lot of damage has been done in the last 100 years in the name of self-help and discipline and motivational nonsense. Okay. तुम
Mhm.
नेचर में रहती हो. Okay. प्रियंका नेचर में isn't everything effortless,
Absolutely it is.
right?
And everybody has
पानी
their own contribution, own way of, contributing back to the nature.
पानी कभी देखा नीचे से ऊपर चढ़ रहा? Never.
No.
कभी किसी मछली को देखा कि मैं तो उड़ करके देश का नाम रोशन करके दिखाऊंगी? They are doing what comes to them naturally.
Mm.
Nature is effortless. You know, a big shout out to Parash Trivedi ji. He
Mhm.
introduced this concept in his book, and I was like, wow. So nature works effortlessly. The thing where you are effortless, you will achieve like this. और जहाँ
Correct.
effortlessness नहीं है, we have glorified effort thanks to the British. India was a country of artists before the British invaded. After them, it's a country of bureaucrats and clerks.
Yeah. I understand little world that I have seen, but I can totally relate to what you're saying right now, and it is making total sense, right? So the harmony will come only when you are doing what you're passionate about, or what your inner calling is about.
Nature
So
has given you a love for it. Nature has given you a talent for it. Do it. Don't do something else before daddy wants you to become something. Don't
yeah,
do
yeah,
something else because you think it would pay more. थोड़ा कम कमा लो
yeah,
but खुश रहो. Three
yeah.
idiots वाला philosophy. That works. That
Yeah, and in
actually works.
fact, to add to what you just said right now, right? Nature also never keeps anything in excess, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever it is at present. They
Yes.
don't go beyond, accumulating things the way a human
देखो
has a
hard work is
tendency.
a myth.
Yeah,
Hard work is a myth. Don't fall for that. If you love it, it's not hard work. If you don't
yeah,
love it, no matter how hard you work, you will never succeed. So I rest my case.
correct, correct. Absolutely true. Thank you so much. Moving on, right? Just a follow-up question on astrology, right? There are few astrologers who suggest inanimate objects, like, maybe wear rudraksha, wear some gemstones, crystals, and so on and so forth. Does they actually work? First question is that. And, if you can help our listeners understand the science behind it, if it works, how it works, why it works, rather.
So, Rudraksh, honestly, I'm not a big fan. I think it's more of a marketing thing which is working.
Mm-hmm.
Some Rudraksh you get from a Siddha Kshetra, that's a different thing. But usually you can just, go buy it, put it around your neck. It doesn't work like that. I don't even sell Rudraksh. I have deep supply chains. I can procure like anything, but I don't because I know it doesn't work. So, honest before astrologer. Yes, but I do wear gems. Okay, my
Okay.
family does, my children do, because I've experimented with them. I come from a Six Sigma background.
Mm-hmm.
So हमको सिखाते थे never go with a certain belief, go with a null hypothesis. Experiment, see the results, and only then come to a conclusion. I did my experiment when I was very upset in my Ketu period, and this often happens in Ketu period. I took off all my rings and everything, just put
Yeah.
them in a drawer. My father warned me, "Look, beta, you'll regret this." I was like, "Screw this, I'm not happy." 2 साल जो पिटाई हुई मेरी. And finally, when I restarted my research after launching an astrologer, and I didn't have my job, so I had time to experiment with it. I experimented with yantras, silver yantras, and gemstones. And then I realized, कि boss, these things actually work. Because I put them back, and when I put my pannas back, I'm wearing 2 of them, and I deal in gemstones. I have a company called Honest Gems,
Okay.
और उसका website भी launch होने वाला. So because this thing actually works. When I realized कि इनका कितना importance पड़ता है, कितना how they change things, how you think, ऐसा नहीं होगा that you wear a gemstone and next day you are just
Hmm.
Superman. But let's say you wear Mercury ka gemstone, which is panna, your ability to think will improve. Of course, up to a certain quantity. You can't make a Nobel Prize winner person out of a simple guy, but you would start to think clearly. If you put a red coral on somebody, their courage and things would improve, and uh, you would see things related to that planet in their chart will start to improve. So I've seen people, भैया fourth house वाला काम अटका हुआ है and fourth house lord is in good place. So I tell them ये पहनो, then try. So after that they are able to break something which was stopping them.
Mm-hmm.
करेज कम है, मंगल अच्छा बैठा हुआ है, मूंगा पहनाया आ गया. कॉन्फिडेंस कम है, माणिक पहनाया, दे स्टार्ट टू फील बेटर. एंड देयर आर डिजास्टर्स. Somebody, the friend of mine, Pravesh, somebody gave him a ruby, and
Mm-hmm.
his stomach went nuclear. वो he already has difficult digestive system, and he wore that. And then he called me, बोले ये ऐसा ऐसा. मैंने कहा भाई, as per my calculation, take it off immediately, and within 1 week he was feeling better.
Oh.
There are people who call me, sir, मैंने नीलम पहना. I'm like, are you crazy? मैंने लहसुनिया पहना, भाई, take it off. So these things work. Now coming to the point how they work. Okay. Uh, every color has a vibe. Okay.
Okay.
There are people who look at a certain color, they feel better just by looking at that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Color therapy दुनिया में है. Nobody questions that. There are colors which you like, there are colors which you hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So gemstones is more about color therapy. Let's say my lucky color is green, I wear a panna, so I get a very intense, concentrated shower of green light all the time in my hands. So it's like color therapy. Color therapy,
Okay.
taken to the power of 10.
Okay.
Right? लोग
Okay.
बोलते हैं ये मेरा lucky color है, I wear this dress or I keep this hanky. उसको बहुत intensify करके to the power of 10 करके gemstone बनता है. That's
Understood.
that's how they work. तभी हम बोलते हैं कि साहब इसको नीचे से खुला रखना चाहिए, and the sunlight should pass, and the quality is far more important than the size. So it's
So it doesn't
120.
work that way, is it?
No,
It
no,
it
no,
has does nothing to do with your weight proportion.
no. It has to be a minimum 2 carat. Clarity is far more important than size. So
Yeah.
a 5 carat bada stone, which is like a pathar, and you can't do much. It is better to have a 2.25 carat wala thing, which is like really pure and you can see across. So I always insist on transparency.
So there are various sciences, right? Astrology is one science, numerology is another, and there are many more. Many a times, especially like I have come across certain incidences where um, both the advices, like the astrology advice or a numerology advice, they don't go hand in hand. They conflict many a times. So, aren't these sciences supposed to, offer clarity to the seeker? So, why do you think there is a disconnect there, or why don't they match? Is I
Very,
have one
very good
question
question.
around that.
Very, very good question. First thing, astrology versus numerology. Astrology wins hands down. पूछो क्यों?
Of course, I would love to know.
Astrology, your chart changes every 2 hours. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Numerology, everybody is born on the same date. तो ठीक है, basic traits थोड़ा बहुत रहते हैं because of the position of sun and moon on that particular day. That would
Mm-hmm.
match. But a Shani in the 12th, उसका पैसा नहीं बचेगा. Shani in the second, उसका तुम निकाल नहीं सकते. 4 घंटे का गेम है. Same date of birth. क्या कर लोगे?
Mm.
Right? So it is like a giant. वो बच्चे खड़े होते हैं ना व्हील पे, क्या बोलते हैं उसको? मैरी गो राउंड.
Yeah, yeah.
ठीक है. यूं समझो कि 12 खाने 9 बच्चे खड़े हैं. ठीक है.
Mm.
हर 2 घंटे बाद खाना मूव हो जाता. So sun in the first is a beast. वो बादशाह. सन इन द 12th, उसका कॉन्फिडेंस ही नहीं आएगा. क्या कर लोगे तुम?
Mm-hmm.
राइट. सो वो सेम कट कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं हो सकता. बस ओके. पीपल से आई वाज बोर्न ऑन द सेम डे एज अ फेमस मूवी स्टार. बिग डील भाई, उसका सितारे अलग है, तुम्हारे अलग.
Mm-hmm.
So numerology, I am not a numerologist. I have a very bad math, so I never even tried. थोड़े उसके
Mm-hmm.
बेसिक्स होता है. I've seen numbers repeat themselves in the life, especially of number 4 people and number
Okay.
8 people. Okay. 4 नंबर वाले का तुम देखोगे, उसके गाड़ी का नंबर, घर का नंबर, दुकान का नंबर, उनमें से most of them would resonate around 4.
Oh.
Yeah, 4 or 8, 4 or 8 उनके आते रहते. So I've seen that. But it doesn't work with the side of accuracy that astrology works. Because वो एक ही तारीख पे सबको एक डंडे से नाप देते हो.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say numerology has its limitations. उसके बाद में generic predictions ने सत्यानाश किया हुआ है. You ask me to make a prediction for next year, I can tell you tsunami आएगी, भूकंप आएगा, कोई world leader मरेगा, कोई war होगी. हर साल होता है. What's the big?
In fact, मेरा एक सवाल आपको ये भी था, like I was going to anyways ask a question to you, right? As in, like I've never seen you doing any prediction on mundane
Monday.
astrology, right? So why is it so, sir? Like I got a sense of it, like you said just now that every year it happens, but still, like you never like and considering the current situation, what is happening around the world and in India, so why is that so? Why haven't you ever, predicted around it?
दो reasons है. One, I was never trained in that. I was lucky
Okay,
enough to get the spoon feeding from my father
right.
when it came to individual astrology. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Two, I have a Cancer moon, so I care a lot about people around me.
Okay.
Uh, there is a lot that we still need to discover and learn about individual astrology. And if you help
Mm-hmm,
the individual, you can make a change. I've never made a mundane prediction, and in the foreseeable future, I don't think I would. Because what difference can you make? Zilch. But I can make a lot of difference in the life of my clients.
mm,
और एक
yeah,
वो individual to individual connect होता है, and I can tell a client to do this and not that. I
right.
can tell them, why marry this person, don't marry that person. I can tell them, don't do this work, do this work, yeah, wait till this time. So you're making a direct impact. Mundane astrology, lot of people making lot of predictions, they don't need one more. So I'm happy serving my clientele, making real difference, maybe a smaller difference, but making real difference. And there are a lot of people
Okay,
doing, some of them are doing really good jobs, so they don't need, my clients need me more. So पहली
right.
चीज आता नहीं है, दूसरी चीज इंटरेस्ट इतना नहीं है.
But considering today's situation, any piece of advice, anything, a small advice that everybody can follow in their life, just to continue with that peace within, because there is a lot of panic situation around. So any piece of advice that you would like to share for all of us, like. for the masses?
First thing, stand by your armed forces.
Right.
पॉलिटिक्स मेरा विषय नहीं है, मैं उस पर बोलता नहीं हूँ. Individuals in this country don't know what they're doing. Okay, they are randomly supporting this party or that party. They are not supporting themselves. I am on the part of the citizens. How many people can you accumulate for a dharna saying कि we need free speech? Not even 10. यही अगर वोटर्स हैं तो ऐसे ही काम चले. I don't blame politicians. I think they are very intelligent people. Politician has one dharma, which is to stay in power. They are doing that. You will get what you want. US First Amendment is free speech. 17th Amendment is right to bear arms. मंगल को जगाना है. Okay. सबसे पहले तो खुद को फिट रखना. ये मेरे मुंह से निकलता अच्छा नहीं लगता, but you have asked me professional advice. Second thing, we should ask the government for free speech and right to bear arms. Army can't be everywhere. So Mangal will save this country. As a true Indian, I stand by my armed forces. I stand by my government. Sorry, थोड़ा emotional हो गया मैं. I have a cancer moon, so देश पे बात आती है ना, तो मेरा थोड़ा BP high हो जाता है. By the
Definitely,
way,
but
cancer is the sign of patriotism.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I would like to now touch base upon your book, your favorite three planets, right? Shani, Rahu, Ketu. And I think you call them bad boys. Your book is also very famous, available on Amazon, if I'm not wrong.
Amazon.
Yes, Bad Boys of Astrology, Shani, Rahu, Ketu. So let's talk about what is what was the inspiration for you to write this book? One. And two, was it difficult, while writing this book, especially writing about Shani? Like everybody has this fear, right? When it comes to Shani, like, I hear that recently there was a call from one of my college friends, and she's like, just now my Shani Dasha is over, and now I'm hoping that, everything will be fine in my life. So, that kind of fear everybody carries when they talk about Shani. So, what you have to say about that as well?
So coming to this book, I always wanted to write a book, okay, for the
Yeah.
bragging rights.
So honest.
Yeah, and I was doing my research on them, and one pattern which I recognized thanks to my training, everybody would call 90%, 80% would be in a Rahu Ketu or a Shani Mahadasha or Antardasha. तुम लोग
Okay.
कभी कॉल किए?
But I remember, I think it was Rahu, if I'm
Yeah, it
not
was Rahu.
mistaken.
चलो, let's settle this. So hence proved हो गया. So I was just flooded with all these, and I used to maintain that data at times. And I was like, यार, अगर हर आदमी इन्हीं से दुखी है तो इन्हीं के साथ में काम शुरू करते हैं. I was myself going through a Ketu Dasha.
Oh.
So I started doing my research. Ketu and Rahu, they came as inspirations. One day
Okay.
you get up, you start writing, and it starts to flow like a warm syrup. And it was like receiving a download from the universe, and you are just cut, 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 cut. And it all was done. Shani took me years. देखो, Rahu
Oh.
Ketu are about inspiration. Shani is about perspiration. So Rahu Ketu, I wrote my Ketu article, जो सबसे famous हुआ मेरा. If you Google Ketu Mahadasha, first, second, 3 rank पे आता है. So
Yeah, yeah.
I got up one day at 4 o'clock in my Ketu Mahadasha, got up and something struck me and I started writing. 11 बजे तक मैंने अपलोड कर दिया and it went viral within days. वो Google first rank जा बैठा. Rahu, similar stuff, not to that intense degree, but similar stuff. Shani mein, I had it tough. I had to do a lot of interviews, calibrate, recalibrate, write, rewrite. वो मैंने सारा collect किया, and a few days later it was my birthday and I had my father press the upload button. See, 9th house Shani. So उसके बाद में उन्होंने कर दिया. Nobody bothered. Then one of my friends said कि भाई किताब मैंने कहा है तो सही. बोले blog पे तो लिखो महाराज. So I put it on blog. It sold a few copies, and then it took off. Today it
Right.
has 132 we have 136 reviews with a 4.6 aggregate ranking, one of the best sellers in astrology category, and I'm still surprised. ये कैसे हो गया?
Wow.
So these three have been feeding me, होता क्या है, the fear economy around this. एस्ट्रोलॉजी और अंडरवर्ल्ड ये डर पे चलने वाले धंधे है ना, कि राहु आ गया ये कर देगा, शनि आ गया वो कर देगा. ठीक है, दे डू देयर शेयर ऑफ डैमेज, बट देयर इज अ लॉट दैट यू कैन डू टू प्लेकेट देम. और सिर्फ आप ही उसके साथ नहीं फंसे हुए, प्लेनेट भी आपके साथ फंसा हुआ है, राइट?
Interesting.
यस, a part of that energy is trapped in your body. ठीक है. Why is it that most people are restless in Ketu Dasha? Because that Ketu energy is trapped in them. केतु महादशा, आई टेल पीपल के भैया जा करके मेडिटेट करो ना, इतना हार्ड वर्क, मोटिवेशन, डेडिकेशन दिखाओ, नौकरी चली जानी. शनि पीरियड, आई टेल देम कि भैया 10 घंटा काम करते हो तो 12 घंटा करो. राहु पीरियड, आई टेल देम तुमसे मेडिटेशन ना होगा, यू गो, यू प्लान, यू डू समथिंग कंस्ट्रक्टिव, क्रिएटिव. शनि हैज द मोस्ट powerful karmic depth in the chart. Okay. So Shani has his own beauty. Okay. But we Indians have taken the bad side of Shani. Okay. Good side of Shani you will find in Japan. Discipline, timeliness, people doing cleanliness, people doing a lot of work. हमारे यहाँ गरीबी, socialism, meanness. So we have picked the bad side of Shani. So the solution to Shani is only Mangal. There is no other solution. There is no other planet that stands any chance in front of Shani. It's not easy, but it's doable. Okay? You cannot work your way around Shani. You have to go through Shani. So that's how it happens. The point is, you should know what you are dealing with. Once you know what you are dealing with, you can, adjust yourself and your environment around it. So शनि इतना फ्री विल छोड़ता है कि आदमी उतना काम एडजस्टमेंट का कर पाए. okay? केतु इज द पीरियड व्हेन योर फ्री विल इज ऑन ड्यूटी. अब वो जो हो रहा यू हैव टू गो विद द फ्लो. शनि विल थ्रो यू अ चैलेंज, यू डू समथिंग, यू विल हैव टू वर्क द हेल आउट ऑफ इट. इजीली कुछ नहीं होगा, हर काम रो पीट के होगा, 2-3 अटेम्प्ट के बाद में होगा. So I was born in a Shani Mahadasha and I realized why Buddha said life is misery. But I decided कि यार कुछ तो ऐसा होगा जिसमें कि इसका सॉल्यूशन हो. एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज वी वांट कि साहब एक पन्ना पहन लो सब ठीक हो जाएगा, या एक नीलम डाल लो सब ठीक हो जाएगा, या मैंने जो है वो आजकल वो आ गया था पानी मिर्चे बहा दो सारा वो क्लियर हो जाएगा डेट आपका. ऐसे नहीं होता भाई, कलेक्शंस वाले आ जाएंगे. सो देखो, एस्ट्रोलॉजिकल में लॉजिकल डालना बहुत जरूरी है. ठीक है ना. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आज आपकी दशा चेंज हुई तो जो है 1 करोड़ रुपया लेके प्लैनेट सुबेरे खड़ा होगा. द चेंजेस आर इंटरनल. ओके. मरकरी महादशा I was able to think very very clearly, right? And Mercury gives you that ability to think clearly. Ketu Mahadasha, that ability collapsed. Okay. I was wondering भाई ये कौन सा alternate universe है जहाँ मेरा दिमाग नहीं चल रहा. I was humiliated a lot of times. Right? So you have to think, look, act and feel like the planet. You cannot go against what the planet wants. अभी शनि महादशा आदमी बेला बैठा हुआ वो डिप्रेशन में जाएगा. Shani and Rahu need something to do. Ketu doesn't want to do anything. So केतु वालों को मैं कहता हूँ भाई चिल मारो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, थोड़ी बेरोजगारी भी अच्छी है. So you have to adjust. वो जैसे समंदर में होता है ना, you adjust your पाल.
Yeah.
है ना, तो वैसे ही थोड़ा एडजस्टमेंट करके you need to run. बाकी तो डिटेल में हम कितना भी जा सकते हैं. So these three bring all the miseries and all the lessons to humanity. So I made it my mission to make friends with these three, bring out their good side to the world, and try and take them from a bad side of that planet to a good side of that planet. केतु में आप कितना ही हार्ड वर्क, डेडिकेशन, मोटिवेशन कर लो, कख नहीं होना. But if you start reading scriptures and you start to meditate and you start to think about God, suddenly you'll start to have some beautiful experiences. राहु में आप कितना ही मेडिटेट कर लो वो बात नहीं होगी. राहु में you have to focus on something materialistic and something which is concrete, and you have to avoid those illusions. शनि में कमर कस लो, काम करो, दबा के काम करो, be too busy to be depressed. That's the thing. So आप planet के साथ फंसे हुए हैं, planet आपके साथ फंसा हुआ है.
Wow.
Better to keep the planet energy happy. You'll feel better.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
how it
Correct.
works.
So end of the day, it is also about understanding the energy, understanding the planet, understanding the dasha that you are in, and then walk the path in tandem with it so that it becomes very, it doesn't become misery or it doesn't become challenging,
Yeah.
it becomes an easy path.
You make friends with
Wonderful.
them. मैंने जब भी
Correct.
वो किताब का पीछे वाला टेक्स्ट होता ना, उसमें मैंने लिखा था, anybody who has gone to school can vouch for this. Once you make friends with the bad boys, life is easy.
Yeah, so true. Interesting. Lovely. So I think, and we all understood that once we know which dasha we are in, and if we act or if we walk accordingly, it becomes an easier path. Now, I asked you about spirituality some time back. You gave a wonderful insights on spirituality. Now, my follow-up question to you is this. I understand that after all, everybody's goal, every human being's goal is to reach to the source. You call it God, you call it energy, right? Uh, so if that is the case, then why the source makes this journey or the God makes this journey difficult at times, right? And any thoughts of yours around on this?
Because I'm not enlightened enough to answer this question directly. I'll take some cues from whatever I've read, and again a shout out to Parash Trivedi.
Yeah.
The Brahmand was created to learn and enjoy and let free will exist. So you create beings, you like them, you want them to interact, you start. Ultimately, everybody has to go the source. What if the source wants to have a little fun? Yeah. And it was created, the misery was created because free will was given. And when people and the beings, they made a mess out of free will, the law of karma was put in place. And then the circus started, right? You go up, you go down, you get liberated. So it's Leela, right? It's Leela. So kya tha, kya nahi tha, it's very, very difficult to say. But from whatever I know about astrology, it was karma who started all this dance. The beings, there was a time when there was no death. There was a time when there was no suffering caused because of karma, but beings started to misbehave. And that is when karma were created to keep them in check. And after that, we have been ever since traveling up and down. So it's a very esoteric question. I don't think anybody can answer it very, very clearly. But going to the source, yes, it is the ultimate thing. But the point is to enjoy the journey. रोलर कोस्टर में बैठी हो कभी?
हाँ, कई
पर्पस
बार.
क्या है? To go to the other end.
Yeah, but then
मजा तो राइड में है.
हाँ.
Journey is the reward. So it was
Correct.
created to have fun. So that's my answer. It was created to have fun and learn and spread love. But then some people made, including us, we did something which has us trapped in this matrix. So if we align our karma correct, we'll be able to. So thrill hai bhai.
So
Right,
take it
but-
easy. And I think in the beginning you mentioned, right, you don't have to necessarily leave everything and walk the path of spirituality. It is, after all, be where you are, be, authentic, be honest, and, enjoy the entire journey is
Yeah.
what
So
we can say.
again, we have created this dichotomy कि साहब material world can't have spirituality, spiritual world can't have materialism. That's nonsense. Okay. Most of our avatars and big saints were rich people. Spirituality is a rich man's game. Remember this. लक्ष्मी जी की आरती सुनी है कभी? जिस घर में वास तुम्हारा उसी में गुण आता। जय लक्ष्मी माता। ओके। अभी शरीर मिला है तो क्या करेंगे यार? शरीर को तो अच्छे से रखना है ना, right? So you need to have some comforts, you need to have the right kind of diet. So it's not bad to be rich. Ram and Krishna were kings. Arjun was a prince. The man who listened to Gita, right? Buddha was a king. Mahavir was a royal. And all these are enlightened people I'm talking about. So गरीबी में spirituality नहीं चलती. ये हमने एक वो बना लिया just to glorify poverty. So मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि सारे गरीब बुरे होते हैं, सारे अमीर अच्छे होते हैं. इनफैक्ट जो दुनिया में गंद फैला हुआ है वो अमीरों ने फैला रखा, being fair. But in order to live a decent life, आपको you have to live through this body. आप क्या करोगे? Our body needs a certain amount of comfort, nutrition and surrounding. ठीक है, अगर कोई बहुत ज्यादा exalted soul है, कोई जैन मुनि बन गया, तो वो फिर इस सारे लॉजिक से बाहर है, right? How many people can live one day like a Jain Muni? So as long as you are not comfortable, as long as you haven't eaten properly, you can't go out and lecture about spirituality. Spirit तो body में trapped है ना यार.
True.
So first step is to take care of your body. People don't know how to sit properly.
Yeah.
Right? उनको पढ़ाया कुछ गया नहीं. Right? अब पढ़ोगे कैसे? Education होगी तो पढ़ोगे. So spirituality has to come from intelligence. And for intelligence, you need good education, you need good minds, you need good nutrition.
True.
गरीबी कहाँ रहने देते यार ये सब? You're always worried about the next meal.
Yeah. Nutrition to both to your body as well as to your mind.
Yes. And then there are people who are built a certain way, right? कृष्ण के साथ रहते भी अर्जुन was chosen for Gita. Bhim couldn't have understood it. He wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't intellectually so mature. So everybody is at their own level of intelligence, own level of spiritual journey. So हमने ये करते हैं सारे जने बैठो मेडिटेट करो बल्ले बल्ले करो, वो नहीं होता. Everybody has their own unique journey.
True.
So you need to know where you are और वहां से शुरू करो.
Understood. Yeah. So I think you talked about Arjuna. So you're another favorite, ancient wisdom around Mahabharata. I know that you have started giving, podcasts or episodes on Mahabharata. I think if you are keen, maybe one day we can do a quick, short summary call on Mahabharata, maybe a dedicated episode on that.
Absolutely.
And one liner, sure, thank you so much. And one liner that, that you would like to tell our listeners now that since we are talking about Mahabharata.
Read it.
Yeah.
And read the version by C. Rajgopalachari, M.K. Ganguly. M.K. Ganguly wala thousands of pages, not everybody can read. C. Rajgopalachari wala version is a beautiful abridged version. Read it. Okay. And read it with an open mind. Okay. Ramayana heroes and villains are very, very clear. Mahabharata, it's a very grey story. The characters have several shades of grey. There is some Ujla in Duryodhan, there is some Kala in Yudhishthir, and everybody in between. Krishna is God, so we'll keep him out of this spectrum. But even he did things which, if you look at it from a very unenlightened view, it comes across as a very cynical, living individual. But when you understand why he did it, then you fall in love with it. So मैंने एक book लिखा था महाभारत पे. It's a 28-page novella. It's called Krishna's War. Okay, it's available on Kindle Unlimited. So उसमें what I tried to do was take away all the miracles. Put Krishna as a man, as a human being. And it is about the night before the war, and every Kaurav Senapati is doing his own drama, trying to self-justify. Okay, why I'm doing this, why I'm right. In the end, Krishna does a beautiful analysis of everybody. And then you find out why is Krishna worshipped. I'm getting goosebumps. Whenever I talk about this, I get goosebumps. So the climax, मेरे दिमाग में कुछ और था, and it came out totally differently. It was the grace of Krishna. You see this Krishna yantra behind me?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was the grace of Lord Krishna that I was able to write that. It's tad controversial, but if you read it with an open mind, it is only for those who have already understood Mahabharata and love it. Not for everybody,
Okay.
not for the beginners. It's only, you know, what director से special बनता है ना, cut.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that kind of a thing. So my interest, how it came across, I was one of those who wanted to figure the world out, how the world works. Okay, and we should tell this to our children in their teenage years. मेरे समझ में आया 30s में, and before that I was a very straightforward, काम करो, माता पिता भगवान का रूप है, और you know, you take the society.
Yeah.
And then there was a time when my life fell apart and I was in depression. So when you are in depression, the first thing you do is pick up Bhagavad Gita like a good Hindu. मेरे कुछ नहीं समझ में आया. Then fortunately I got a copy of Mahabharata by Sridhar Gopalacharya, and it blew my mind. I was stunned into silence for a couple of days कि भाई ये क्या हुआ? And I was like कि ये तो स्क्रिप्ट ही गलत मिल गई रे बाबा. चूना लग गया इधर तो. जो कुछ बोले ये तो स्टोरी दूसरी है. And I started to apply Mahabharata lessons to my life, and life started to get better.
Nice.
My Mangal woke up. Mahabharata is the most Mangal thing that you can read. And then you question things as a citizen, as a person, as a practicing Sanatani Hindu, what the hell happened to us? मैंने कहा इनके वंशज 1000 साल तक दबे नहीं रह सकते थे. What the hell happened? What's the truth? And it started this philosophical journey, and I read a lot of history and I read a lot of philosophy. And then I realized कि साहब मंगल को मंगल नाम क्यों दिया गया? मंगल का English translation should be auspicious, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Why is the planet of war named auspicious? मांगलिक कार्य है, मंगल है. Why? Why मंगल?
Never occurred to me.
Because you cannot have only Shastra, you have to have Shastra. So our ancients realized how important it is to arm yourself and protect yourself and be ready to fight, because there are forces of evil who will try to throw you off. ये आज का नहीं है, रामायण टाइम से चल रहा है ये सब. मायावी युद्ध तब भी लड़ाए जाते थे, right? And they would spread things which would harm the good guys. The bad guys will never listen, right? Yudhishthir will take blind orders from Dhritarashtra and Kunti. Duryodhan will never listen to them. He had his problems, but he was again a shade of grey, and he was a very, very brave and straightforward man.
Yeah.
दुर्योधन वो अपने दोस्तों के साथ में खड़ा रहा हमेशा. Karna stabbed him in the back. Bhishma stabbed him in the back. Drona stabbed him in the back. Duryodhan never betrayed his people. You have to respect that. He wasn't a great man, but he was a brave man, right? जब ये आखिरी में गदा युद्ध हुआ, and Yudhishthir as usual कि हम में से एक को चुन लो and choose whichever way you want to fight, तुम जीत गए सब तुम्हारा. And Krishna was like, Dharmraj, you have thrown this war away today.
Yeah.
Duryodhan could have picked a Nakul Sahdev, वो चांटे मार के मार देता उन्हें. He was so strong, but he was a man's man. बोला भीम से लड़ूंगा. right? You apply your logical brain. You would say कि नकुल भैया आ जाओ जरा.
Correct, correct.
But he was a man's man. बोले तुम में से कोई मेरी टक्कर का नहीं है. It won't be a fair fight. And plus I was scored to settle with this guy. इसने मेरे भाइयों को मारा. Beam, let's go 1-1. Let's you and I.
Yeah.
You have to respect that. There was a time when Ashwathama pleaded Duryodhan to stop. कि यार बहुत हो गया, अभी इसको बंद कर देते हैं. And I'm willing to forgive everyone. And दुर्योधन सेट कि यार किस मुंह से बंद करेंगे, अभी अपनों को मरवा दिया इतने. एक टाइम था रुक सकते थे. नाउ देयर इज टू मच ब्लड बिटवीन अस. उनके अपनों का खून और मेरे अपनों का खून. मर के मैंने भी तो उनको मुंह दिखाना. अब तो या हमारी पूरी जीत हो गई या पूरी हार हो गई. मैं जाके क्या जवाब दूंगा उनको जो मेरे लिए मारे गए कि मैंने समझौता कर लिया. नो वे. And his team they just applauded him. The Kaurav Sainik, they cheered him on. They were men. They were men. That's courage. You love him or hate him. I'm not saying he's a great character, but you have to develop that respect for the man's bravery.
Yeah.
That's Mangal. That's Mangal on a steroid. Then there are people like Vikarna. Then there are people like Susharma. नाम जो पता नहीं है किसी को, but they were heroes, mighty heroes. People like Uttar, who went from a squealing mouse coward to a brave heart who fell in Mahabharat war. Then you have periods like the Virat Parvat. But it's fascinating. It's fascinating. And my Mangal became, alert, and I sort of made the first dent in the matrix. तो देसी मैट्रिक्स को पहली चोट मैंने महाभारत पढ़ने के बाद में लगाई. And I stopped listening to the authority figures. I started questioning them. Could be parents, bosses, seniors, whatever. Paid a price for it, but zero regrets. आज मेरे पेरेंट्स बोलते तू ठीक कहता था उस टाइम. Yeah. So the point is, we as Indians, we need Mangal. We have been IT coolies and clerks for very, very long time. हमने क्या किया मंगल का कि साहब ये तो शादियों में कलेश कराता. लानत है हमारे पे. You look around in India, all you see is Shani, Rahu. I don't see Mangal. आर्म फोर्सेस एक ही चीज बची हुई है और आज उनकी कितनी जरूरत पड़ रही. टुडे वी रियलाइज हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट मार्स है. जब आग बरस रही है बॉर्डर्स पे, राइट. मार्स इज वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट. मेरी अगली बुक मार्स पे आ रही है. उसका टाइटल ये है मार्स द ऑस्पिशियस.
Wow. Is this the first time that you are revealing the name, or you have already mentioned it to your
I mentioned it
listener?
Once.
Okay.
Just one.
Congratulations,
So
sir. And we look
Mangal
forward
the
for the book.
auspicious, I plan to call that. I wrote a book of moon, but I discontinued it. Whenever I would reveal anything on moon, I'll get hammered. But Mangal has been very, very friendly.
Mangal has been Mangal to you, sir.
Yeah, Mangal has been Mangal, right. So Mahabharat, everybody should read, especially the men. Yeah. And you realize what it's about being a man. You see the real men in that thing on both sides, Pandav side and Kaurav side. You see the real men, and that is when you start this journey. And I've done a lot of research on how to raise boys, men, women, intergender dynamics. You see all this kalesh going on with Gen Z relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because we have killed the Mangal of our boys. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. हमारे यहाँ सत्यानाश हो रखा. One section is women are from Mars, men are from Venus. Other section is men are from Moon, women are from Rahu. तो मैं इस पर बात करूंगा, but Mangal will solve a lot of problems in this country. Lot of problems.
Thank you so much for bringing this, enlightening subject on Mangal. I think let's everything be Mangalmay is what we can pray for across the globe. And with this, we come towards the end of this episode. Before I end this episode, I would request you to share one message for our today's youth. You've already shared that about Gen Zs and all, but still, anything that comes to your mind for the young.
I would say for the youth, I think they have their heart in the right place. Okay. I don't get along with the elders very well. Anyone above 60 finds me difficult to deal with. The youth, they love me, right? Gen Z मेरी गाड़ी खींच रहा है ये बच्चे लोग. What I would tell them is they have their heart in the right place. They have been deluded a lot. Okay? I call them the Delulu generation. My advice to them would be to be realistic. You guys have it much, much better than previous generations. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is everybody comes to me with Rahu mood. Most of the youngsters. साहब मैं 1,000 करोड़ का आदमी बन जाऊंगा क्या? ओ भाई जीरो कितने होता है मालूम? अच्छा 50,000 कमाया कभी? नहीं. So my advice always is small मिलाते जाओ लार्ज बनाते जाओ. क्योंकि ये हम सारे टाइम क्या देख रहे हैं साहब, वो महंगी वाली वेडिंग देख रहे हैं और फॉरेन ट्रिप्स देख रहे हैं. एवरीबडी नोज हाउ टू स्पेंड, वेरी फ्यू नो हाउ टू अर्न. दैट्स वन. दैट्स फॉर द बॉयज. सो बी रियलिस्टिक, okay, about what you expect from life. Make small goals, then achieve them. Be realistic. Second thing, to the ladies, I deserve everything doesn't happen that way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
कि साहब, I want a multi-million-dollar job. I want a man who is 6'2", he has a six-pack, and he has a six-figure salary. Six-figure salary वाले मेरे जैसे चश्मा लगा हुआ, बाल सफेद हो गए, तोंद निकल के, right? You have to be realistic about what you expect, and this generation has it much better. हर घर में एसी है. हमारे टाइम में मोहल्ले में 2 एसी होते थे. रिमेम्बर?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the 80s. Yeah. मोहल्ले में एक कार होती थी, आज हर घर में 1-2 कार्स हैं.
Yeah.
So they have it much better, so many opportunities. The problem is social media ने dilute कर दिया इनको. You know, if I want to, let's say, start a small business, that's fine. But if I want to make a unicorn, I have to be an absolute freak who thinks about nothing else. उसके बाद भी a lot depends on luck. So if you are realistic in today, because most of the people are so delusional कि साथ छोटा हम करेंगे नहीं, बड़ा हमसे हो नहीं रहा.
Mm-hmm.
Right? छोटा छोटा करके build it up, then you can slowly grow it up, and be realistic, be kind to each other. That's what I would say. Start small, make it big, be realistic. That's my biggest advice to the youth. Be realistic. सपनों के नाम पे ये लोग हवा में उड़ गए, delusional हो गए.
Hmm.
So this is a generation which needs a little good kind of Shani.
Yeah.
So be realistic, and you can do much better than previous generation. You guys have your heart in the right place. I love you guys a lot, and I envy you for all the opportunities and the technologies that you have. But I think you guys need to get reality. और इनमें से जो भी 10-15% realistic हो जाएगा, they are going to rule. They will be
Wow.
the new age kings and queens. जब तक ये delusional रहेंगे, तब तक problem रहेगा. So be realistic. That's my.
Great, great. Thank you so much, sir.
And
Thank you.
thank you so much for having me as the first guest, and I am so happy and honored, and I wish you both all the best. Do well. Okay? Namaskar.
Thank you. So that was the episode, guys, for today. All I could say is I have no idea how time flew. It was that gripping and inspiring. Vijayji brought such clarity and depth to astrology, and I can already tell he will be back with Astrology 101 in our future episode. Do make sure to visit his website, which has tremendous amount of information and knowledge around astrology. You will find all the links in the description box below. And of course, we would love to hear from you. Drop your comments, share your thoughts, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, be happy, make everyone around you happy, stay as close to the nature as possible, and love everyone. And always remember, beyond the veil, the trail begins. We'll see you all next week in yet another inspiring episode at the Awakening Trail. Until then, take care.